It keeps me up at night. I've got bags under my eyes. I don't know if you can see it, but it's because of the Minions.
From the Minions?
The Minions, they keep me up at night. Oh. You keep me up at night.
That's funny.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List, and happy 4th of July, everybody. Whether you're watching this on the actual day,
America's birthday,
technically speaking,
sorta.
I mean, they technically drew it up on July 2nd, but it didn't get ratified till July 4th. Fun fact.
Cool.
That's true fun fact.
So today is kind of like
yeah, we're recording this the 2nd, so technically today is the birthday.
Well, I'm lighting off fireworks tonight. Then
don't do that. Don't do that. Nope, I did not. Oh no, what have I started? No, you can't light fireworks. You got a young little kid that needs their sleep right now.
I'm gonna go over to the neighbor's house, a few houses down, and I'm gonna light fireworks off there.
How do you not realize how far sound travels?
Do it, Ryan.
That's right. That's right.
Don't encourage him.
Celebrate.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. All right. I guess you kind of got to think of it as like sometimes when your birthday lands on a middle of the week thing and you don't have the party till the weekend.
Yep.
Only in this case, you have the birthday in the week and then you also have the party within the week. So this metaphor doesn't really work anymore.
And a lot of times too, you still might like, oh, it's my birthday. I'm gonna go treat myself to a special lunch, even if it's just me or Thursday. Yeah. Like, it might be like a Tuesday, and it's like, you know what? I'm going to have an afternoon beer when I get home, and I'm going to enjoy it. And that's going to turn into 7, and then I'm going to go to bed.
Are you speaking from experience there?
No comment.
Good. Fair enough. All right. Let's move on here then into some movie talk. Like I said, with 4th of July and everything, I think last year we did like a big like patriotic movie thing or whatever. We didn't want to repeat ourselves. We want to do something a little different here this week. And there was actually not one, but 2 movies that I think kind of inspire today's opening spotlight. Today, we're taking a little trip to Tinsel Town. Folks. We're heading on over to L.A. because not one, but 2 movies kind of use Los Angeles as not just like a filming location. Like so many movies are filmed in Hollywood and everything like that, but like actually kind of use it as a character. Beverly Hills Cop 4 and maxxxine, both movies set in L.A. So we're going to talk about Los Angeles set movies in a new segment I like to call the ABCs of subgenres.
Oh.
We're going to cover action.
Yep.
We're going to cover based on a true story. We're going to cover comedy. The ABCs right there. Came up with that last night. Can't believe we didn't think of that one earlier.
I know. I like that. That's really good.
Thank you. So let's just start with some action. Let's get with some explosions, some crazy stuff and everything. I definitely want you to go first here, A, because I think your pick is one of the best of all of them, and B, I'm still debating between 2. So take it away. What is your best action movie set in Los Angeles?
All right. What did I pick? I don't remember.
We'll do charades. One word.
Okay. Time.
No, this is the symbol for movie.
Oh,
we're literally talking about movies. This is charades. I'm doing charades right now.
Movie.
How did you not get movie?
Why
did you think time?
You went like this.
Yeah, one word. That's how syllables. That's how charades work. I'm pretty sure.
One word.
You pick. I'm done with the bit now. You pick Nightcrawler. Okay.
That's okay. Perfect. Yeah. How would you explain the rest of that?
I didn't think that far.
Yeah, no, when I was going through this category, I kind of looked up some films, and there's a few that I really liked. Like, an old one that I liked was Battle Los Angeles. Really enjoyed that movie when it came out. That was years ago now. But I went with Nightcrawler because, and I did this for action.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It definitely doesn't fit under comedy.
No, it's definitely not a comedy movie. But especially being within the line of work that we do, live kind of emergency management, kind of that vein. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was cool. And there are people that do that out in the real world in big cities. And when there is stuff happening all the time in big cities, you can do that for a job. And it's interesting. Like, it's it's not really based on a true story at all, but it's also based on every story of those people that, because there's a good documentary out. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it follows the people that do go out at nighttime, and whenever there's breaking news, they go out there and film it before camera crews and sell that to the news station. So it's a fantastic movie. Jake Gyllenhaal is phenomenal, I think, and this was a handful of years ago. Like, he was still a big famous actor, but like this was almost more of like a smaller, I don't want to say independent, but a smaller budget type film, and he crushed it.
The nice thing about shooting in LA is most actors and everything, that's like their hometown. That's where they live. So you don't have to spend as much money getting lodging. You don't have to, they're kind of responsible getting themselves there and everything like that. So in a way, it probably did have a indie film budget just because it was a little bit more ground level. Yeah. And you didn't have to worry about some of those other stuff, but like that too. But it feels a lot bigger at the same time. Yeah. Okay. So for my action, both 90s movies, both Keanu Reeves movies, both set in L.A. I think I'm gonna go Point Break.
Okay.
I was okay. So just for a little bit of context, I was debating between this one and Speed.
Oh, Speed, awesome.
I picked Point Break because I felt like that one was a little bit more accurate to LA or a little bit more representative of LA at the time, the surfer culture you kind of had back then, and the extreme sportiness of it all. Speed, I think, is a fantastic action movie in general, but you could put that movie in any city, and I think it would work. Point Break, you can only put in certain cities. Like, you couldn't, I don't know if you could do this as well in New York City.
True. Good point.
Unless, of course, they're like all skaters, in which case you're still kind of confined to the park. The thing that's great about them is they're like out there. They're skydiving into a desert. They're surfing any day of the week and all that. So I think you could only get away with that in LA or an LA type city. So yeah, as far as best representative of Los Angeles in an action movie sort of way, yeah, I got to go with Point Break for sure.
All right, good choice.
Also, Swayze is a bad guy. Something I don't think we saw enough of. But like, kind of a fun bad guy. Anyways. Yeah. All right, so let's move on to B, based on a true story or biopic, anything along those lines. Yeah, why don't you kick us off on this one here too? I could have predicted you were going to go this route here for sure.
Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, and one of his best films, in my opinion, not the best, but one of them, I really enjoyed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Obviously, the story is exaggerated, like he does with all of his movies. He takes so many things that are real and did happen, and then just kind of does some of it, and the rest of it kind of just throws it out and does his own thing. Like, he rewrites a lot of history with that, and not in maybe it went this way, as in a crazy out there, yeah, that didn't happen. And I really enjoyed it. It painted L.A. what I think Quentin remembers growing up as a kid and what he loved about the old days. When I was out there and I had the chance to go to his New Beverly Cinema, his movie theater, like, if you could take that feel of that movie and put it into an old-timey movie theater, that's what his movie theater looks like. So it just, I really enjoyed it. And actually, I could be wrong. I never mind.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think in some of the scenes where they're driving, I think they drive by his movie theater. I could be wrong, but I
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think I want to say I saw it when I watched it last, and it was like, hey. But
It'd be kind of dumb of him not to. That's free advertising right there.
And I don't want to say for sure because I don't remember and I haven't like looked it up to prove it or anything. But I want to say I thought I saw it, but I don't know. Check it out. All the actors all around: Al Pacino, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. Everybody's awesome. It's great.
Yours very focused on movie making, or at least a little part of that industry. Mine as well. We'll kind of go along that subject. The Disaster Artist. This is the one that is based off of the book, I believe, of the same title, written by Greg Sestero, who was a part of the movie The Room. Not to be confused with Room with Brie Larson. Yeah. I've had to clarify this many times before.
Is that canon? Do you know?
No, that's not. Okay. That's not What would that even be canon of?
With the Room and the Disaster Artist. Room, The Room, Disaster Artist.
No, all of those are separate things.
Okay.
All of those are completely separate things.
I should know if we had like a thing or not.
There was not a thing there.
All
There's
right,
not.
all right.
No, you don't associate Room, the movie about the girl who escaped the predator
Room.
guy,
Yeah.
and you don't attach that with the Room. It's getting confusing. Okay, one has Tommy Wiseau in it. One has Brie Larson in it. One of them has the Franco brothers. That's all you need to know.
Perfect.
All right. The Room is considered to be one of the best, worst movies of all time. And yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And this movie basically talks about the making of said movie and all the behind-the-scenes stuff and the mystery that is Tommy Wiseau.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this guy is an enigma. I could go without learning any of the other secrets in the universe. I don't care who shot JFK. I don't care what happened to DB Cooper. I want to know about Tommy Wiseau. Where did he actually come from? Where's he getting the money from, man?
Yeah.
Where's the money coming from? He's not from New Orleans, even though he claims it.
Yeah, he's not.
There's no way he's from New Orleans. I want to know this guy's backstory, and I feel like there's clues to it here in this movie, and they talk about that in The Disaster Artist as well. But if you, I guess you can watch this movie without having seen The Room. But it will seem a little bit more dramatic. You won't get as many of the jokes and some of the inside humor. And some of it is supposed to be dramatic for dramatic purposes. But if you have seen The Room, again, not to be confused with Brie Larson's Room, but The Room, The Disaster Artist is an interesting double feature. And one that we did actually do one time.
Yeah.
That was really
fun.
That was a really fun one. But let's take it away here with the final one, Best Comedy, and on a light note. What's your pick for Best Comedy presenting L.A.?
Best Comedy. I think I went with The Nice Guys, didn't I?
No, you went with Boogie Nights.
Oh, Boogie Nights. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I decided both great films. Nice Guys was a great choice. But I went with Boogie Nights. Mark Wahlberg in the 70s doing the dirty thing as Dirk Diggler. Oh, it's such a fun kind of wild movie, and just loved it. It's a great movie. Can't really get into too much of it, but should definitely check it out.
You know what I find interesting is this is another thing we didn't really plan for, but I feel like with our based on and comedy one, not so much with our action one, but with our based on and comedy one, both of them had very interesting themes or similar themes. Mm-hmm. Based on was we both kind of went the filmmaking route. Best Comedy are both movies that I feel like showed the real side of LA that nobody can talk about.
Yes.
I actually did pick The Nice Guys.
You did pick The Nice Guys? Yeah.
I almost put this for action, but the more I thought about it, the action in this movie isn't bad, but it's not very inventive, but it is very comedic in the action. So I put it as comedy. There are other bits where they are just kind of joking around too. That I've watched this movie probably like 5-6 times, and I still laugh so hard at certain bits.
It's
and everything.
great.
Like the part where he falls down the hill and he happens upon the body, and then Russell Crowe's like asking him like, "What were you doing down here? Like, why are you so wet?" He's like, "Because I was interrogating the mermaids."
Yeah.
Like,
or the bathroom scene where it's the door's not.
one of the best bits of physical comedy in the past 10, 20 years, probably.
Yep. And we've all been in bathrooms before where the doors. Either you don't fit in with the doors,
cooperating.
It's not doing. Yeah.
Now try holding a gun and a cigarette falls.
Yeah.
And all that. But yeah, it both of these movies, both Boogie Nights and The Nice Guys, both looked at LA and showed it for what it really was at the time. We think of it as Tinsel Town. We think of it as, oh, it's just this glamorous emerald city where the stars are brighter than the night sky and all that.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, it didn't always start that way. And second of all, even when it was kind of at its height, in the underbelly was this dirty industry, as many people would call it, and everything like that. But it's what made it what it is today. Mm-hmm. So you can't ignore that when you talk about Los Angeles and everything like that.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised neither of us really went into more crime movies. Well, I guess yours did a little bit. Mine was a fictional crime. Yours is, like you said, not based on a true story, but there are people out there like that, so...
Yep, and there's like LA. I think will always be associated with some kind of crime, there's all kinds of things.
I mean, until they solve the Black Dahlia murder, I mean that's going to be attached to it forever. So.
Yep.
Oh my god, that's a lot of enemies. There you go. What? No, he totally hit that.
Did it.
You done.
Did it.
You done.
You're a computer gamer, aren't you?
I'm not a gamer at all.
You have a PS3.
Yeah, that I use for racing games. Oh no, he's got a hostage.
It's alright, I'll save you. Hitting the button. Hitting the button. Dodge. Dodge. I gotta say it out loud.
Oh my god, that's a tank! But, yeah, those are some of our favorite movies set in Los Angeles. Once again, like we said before, kind of bringing up this topic because we have not one but two movies set in L.A. this weekend. But let's kick things off, actually, with Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. This will be the fourth movie in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, coming straight to Netflix. Eddie Murphy's comeback has been, I'd call it up and down.
Yeah,
for the most parts. There's been a few wins, some losses as well. So now he's returning to one of his first and arguably most famous characters, Axel Foley, and the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. It's hard for me to describe how big of a star Eddie Murphy was back in the 80s. Partially because I wasn't born until 1997. So it's hard for me to describe anything that happened in the 80s accurately, at least. But, I mean, I think nowadays people, when they think of Eddie Murphy, they think of him as Norbit and the Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
And you just compare that to what he was doing in the 1980s. It's not even night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
the almost like slapstick ha-ha humor to, like, I would say more adult comedy. Mm-hmm. Like, they're vastly different.
And vastly different in quality, I would argue, as well.
Yes.
I know there are fans of Norbit out there and all that, but you're welcome to have that, I guess. More power to you. I really want this to be funny. Just because
I want it to be funny for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's what we're all thinking here.
Yeah.
Do we think it's going to be? Just based on what we saw in the trailer.
It's going to be a hit or miss. It could either, I don't know. I
didn't. If they're holding back on the jokes, they're hiding a lot of them. 'Cause I didn't laugh too much when I watched this.
Yeah,
trailer.
I didn't want to laugh a whole lot either. But it's Eddie Murphy. He could turn it around. There's a chance.
I watched that where he's the Prince King Africa movie. Coming to America? There we go. Coming to America. I watched that movie. Didn't laugh too much in that one either, even though it's Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, true. I don't know. And it's also coming straight to Netflix, so.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. That used to be more of a moniker of a death sentence, but I think that's almost more of a, hey, they just bought everyone else out before anyone else could get them thing too. True. That's not always the case, but I do know in the past we've used that as sort of a death stamp, but that's sometimes. I don't know. We're praying for you, Eddie. I guess is what we're essentially saying. Anyways, so yeah, that comes out, in case I forgot to mention that earlier, Wednesday, July 3rd. So by the time this video is out, you'll have a chance to watch that. Also coming out that same day, Despicable Me 4, 2 fourth movies and franchises coming out on the same day here. Like I said before, this is the year of fours.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of 4 movies.
That's a good point.
This one is coming straight to theaters. It's called Despicable Me 4. I'm calling it Minions 3. The marketing around this one is very confusing to me. Because depending on the trailer, sometimes it's like the trailer focuses only on Gru and the family and the fact that he has a kid now. Sometimes they focus only on the Minions. And I'm starting to wonder, like, did they make 2 movies and are just releasing them at the same time?
Yeah, you never know. But also, Despicable Me has its own following. And, like, the Minions movies, they have their own following. So it's kind of like a...
But ever since, I would argue since Despicable Me 3, those have blended together and not in a good way.
Yes, I agree.
You had the first 2.
I agree.
Where it was just where they were Despicable Me, but it was Gru and Minions were the side characters, which is where I think they were the best. Then you had Minions, and that made a big hit. And then I think the third one is when they finally were like, well, let's just kind of do them together. And then Minions 2 was Rise of Gru. So, like, who are we focusing? Who's the main character here?
Yeah.
And then you have this one where, and I've seen other trailers, but in the trailer I watched for this show, Gru didn't show up till 2/3 of the way in.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying like first line. I'm saying first time we saw him was 2/3 of the way in. And I just don't. What are we trying to accomplish here with this movie?
I don't know.
I get it. It's a kids movie. I'm debating about this. I'm arguing too much. Whatever.
They're trying to accomplish making some money, and that's what's gonna happen.
And they probably will. These movies have done really good in this sort of July 4th weekend.
Yeah, I think they'll make some good money, and especially depending where you're at, weather. Never know.
I was gonna say if your 4th of July plans are rained out, you gotta take the family somewhere.
Yep.
Gotta
Go watch Gru and the Minions.
Gotta watch or Minions and Gru. This feels like one of those band names where it's like the two people are arguing of who's the and of.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, so is this Gru and the Minions, or is this Minions and Gru?
Yeah, you never know.
I think we do know. I think it's Minions and Gru. I think they've taken over.
Minions have taken over.
I think they've taken over. They're on the like. I don't know. It depends on even the poster you see. Like sometimes it's all Minion, sometimes it's Gru. Like I'm so confused. It keeps me up at night. I've got bags under my eyes. I don't know if you can see it, but it's because of the Minions.
From the Minions?
The Minions, they keep me up at night. Oh. You keep me up at night.
That's funny.
Staring at me. I actually was debating, just as a side note, which poster put where. I was like, who do I want over my shoulder? The Minion or Pearl? And honestly, the Minion scared me more, so I was like, I'm going to have you in my peripheral.
It's all right. I like looking at the Pearl one.
Yeah. I don't care if she's threatening me with an axe or whatever. It's whatever. All right. Thursday, July 4th, the actual 4th of July, Space Cadet coming to Prime Video. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for a Florida party girl. That's not a joke. That's the actual tagline for this movie. After her friend apparently doctors her resume, and when I say doctors, I mean rebuilds from the ground up with complete lies, a Florida bartender played by Emma Roberts gets into NASA to train and become an astronaut. I have to assume that NASA's background check program is better than this.
A little more in depth.
I get it. It's for a movie. I'll give it a pass because it's a movie. We need comedy doing soon. But I have to hope that NASA's background check is actually better than this.
A little better.
Where they just don't accept anyone into the NASA program. Did you ever want to be an astronaut when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. I've always thought about it. And who knows, maybe by the time I'm older, I will get to be an astronaut and go out of space.
I was going to say, rewrite your entire resume, and you could too, I guess.
Jeez. Maybe I'll get my family off Earth and we'll go live on Mars once Elon gets, what is that, terraforming? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is that what he wants to do, terraform Mars? Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I will be an astronaut. I'll ride a space moped out there, cruising in between the stars.
I will not be visiting you if you do. Just so you know. At a certain point, I just feel bad for Emma Roberts. I feel like at this point, could you imagine looking back on this year and realizing the better of the two movies you were in was Madam Web? Yeah, that's the situation she's in right now.
Yeah,
because this movie doesn't look very good, and I think it's all the things. I think it's the script. I think it's the directing. Emma Roberts doesn't look great in it, but she is great. We know this. I don't know. I just feel bad at this point. This is not a very cheery episode, I'll grant you. I don't know why.
It's going to get better.
It is going to get better. It is going to get better, I guess. But I guess space is kind of a big topic here this month with July. That is I think it's the anniversary of the Apollo mission.
Yeah.
And everything. So maybe it'll be interesting. Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. You know me. I like to be proven wrong. But last, but certainly not least, here Friday, July 5th, coming to theaters, maxxxine. This is the third movie in essentially what is known as the maxxxine trilogy. It started with Triple X, right? Was it? It was just Triple X. Yep. And then
I thought it was just called X. I think it's just
was it X or is it Triple X? I forgot to check.
I think it's just X.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that now. You want to bet on? You want to bet on it?
No,
Okay.
because I have no idea.
You sure you don't want to bet on it?
Yeah, actually, let's do it.
It was X.
Was it?
It is just X.
Pay me my money.
Yeah, no, you didn't shake on it, so it doesn't count. Yeah, okay. Started with just one X.
Yep.
And then the follow-up was the prequel, Pearl. And then finally, we're getting out of that Texas farm. Both movies shot in the same location.
Yep.
Again, that's just a cost-saving thing. But now we're actually going to see her in Hollywood making her dream come true. I mean, it was like one of the opening lines in that first movie of like she wants to be a star. We can't say the full line because there's an expletive there, but now we get to see it happen. We get to see her make her dream come true. But there's a little problem. Everywhere she goes, death seems to follow her.
Yeah. See, and I'm curious as to how the do you remember from the first movie, like that religious pastor that was like doing the broadcast radio? That's like her dad. I'm wondering if that's going to have any impact on.
Oh, see, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
If that's going to have any
that'd be a fun thing to probably.
Like maybe her dad's the one is the
killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty fun.
That'd be kind of cool.
I think
hopefully I'm not spoiling it if that's it.
Well, and this was going to be my next question for you. How much of the first two movies do you think people need to see before going into this one? Because those first two were so focused on one location, and minor spoiler, a lot of them died. So it's not like they're going to be in this one.
Yeah.
So you have a whole new location, whole new cast of characters for the most part, it seems like. How much of that is going to carry? How much of it can carry over?
I don't know. And like, yeah, I don't know. Because like you could just watch X. I'll start over. I mean, you can just watch X and then watch this one, maxxxine. I don't even know if Pearl kind of only gives you insight to one little aspect of one X.
Yeah, I think you could story-wise skip Pearl.
Yeah.
If you like X, though, I think you're going to like Pearl, though, as well.
Yeah. If you like X, you'll like Pearl.
Just for timing-wise or whatever, I think at the very least people do need to see X just to see Mia Goth's character.
Yep. Because Pearl does have. Do you remember the one shot?
Yeah.
That where
I still think about that today.
Yeah, it's like there's one shot in there that's absolutely phenomenal. It's very well done.
I don't think I appreciated it enough when I first watched it, but yeah, when I kind of think about it now, it's kind of like it's kind of crazy they pulled that off.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
But yeah, that brings me to my next point here. Mia Goth, she carries this franchise. Let's be honest, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her performance in this one as well.
Yeah.
Is she going to be the final girl here as well? Is she going to be the killer maybe this time? But
or Kevin Bacon, maybe he's the killer.
I could see the Bacon man being the killer. I don't know if the Bake Man's a thing, if anyone's ever called him that, but we're coining that now.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, really looking forward to that one, I think, as well. But that is everything coming out here this weekend. Let's wrap things up like we usually do with some number one recommends. Ryan, you've been out these last few weeks here, so I'm going to let you go first. What is something you're recommending to the folks? There we go. Finish that ice cube.
I bit some ice cubes.
Yeah, you're chewing on that for a little while.
I am going to recommend. Dun, 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 ba, 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 ba. If you don't know, that's the Game of Thrones music. #X/House of the Dragon. So go check out House of the Dragon. They are 3 episodes in, 3 or 4 episodes.
Season 2, correct?
Season 2. Yep. They've been great so far. Yeah, check it out. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for it to finish. Also, it's great. It's good. Everything's awesome. It's just as good as I remember. If you liked House of the Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, check it out. Season 2.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you or were you not a fan of season 1?
Oh, I liked it. Yeah.
Okay.
It was close enough to being like Game of Thrones, but still being its own separate thing, having nothing to do with any of the characters close. So, like, I could see people not liking it because it is none of the characters of Game of Thrones. It has nothing to do with that. It's 300 or 100 years or 200 years before all of that. So, like, it's just its own story in that world. But I really enjoyed that world. And I also know they are making a new spinoff, another spinoff called Dunk and Egg. And it's one of my favorite. It's a Night of the Seven Realms, I think it's called. The actual book it's called. And I did not read it, but I listened to it on Audible. And it's one of my favorite. Like, it's good.
What was that? What was that going to be called again?
I think it's Dunk and Egg.
Okay, that sounds like a Dunkin' Donuts product. An egg sandwich in between two Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, that's.
Hit us up, Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
you can have that. You can have that idea. We just want some of the residuals from that.
Yeah, or just free Dunkin' Donuts whenever we film. That'd be cool too.
What is the closest Dunkin' Donuts location?
Sioux Falls, maybe.
That's a little out of the way. I'd rather the residuals.
Yeah.
Oh no, the card fell over in front of Isaiah. That's okay. We'll pick it up later. All right. So for my number one recommend here this week, I'm going to stand by this one. I'm going to say A Quiet Place Day One. I know when we left the theater, we weren't as high on it as I think either of us wanted to be. And I think a huge part of that is because a lot of the audience going into it was kind of expecting this world building sort of Quiet Place movie. Ultimately, what I think it is, though, and I think what helps you enjoy that movie is, don't think of it that way. Think of it as kind of this interesting character study. Like, the more I was thinking about it, you have this Lupita Nyong'o character who she's essentially, this is a minor spoiler, I guess, dealing with cancer. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of thinks she could die any day, or at the very least, the impression I got was that she was kind of like,
towards the end.
I kind of want to die almost.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through this. And then all of a sudden, the whole world essentially gets thrown into the same situation as she is now. Anyone could die at any moment now. And so it's like, okay, how far do you fight? What is your motivation? How do you still find joy in life, even though you're in the worst possible situation you're in? Mm-hmm. And when I kind of thought about some of those other scenes, I was like, well, they were kind of stuff I wrote off. But if you kind of look at it from that perspective, I think there's a little bit more to be enjoyed and thought about there. So on top of that, I would say there's still a lot of the factors that make the other Quiet Place movies great. I love the concept of you can't make any noise, because that's the way these things find you, and you don't realize how much noise you make until you have to be silent all the time.
And you don't realize how loud when you're eating popcorn you are to everybody else in the auditorium.
Yep. One of the few movies I refuse to bring any snacks in, because it's just noticeable. Yeah. But I'm gonna still stand by that. Quiet Place Day One. Unfortunately, probably the weakest of the franchise, but I would still very high as far as where I kind of hold it personally. So
very good.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Took a little bit longer than expected, but finally, project I've been teasing on here for like months now, I feel like. Finally on YouTube. Guys in the Chair, me and Braden, we play video games, even though I myself am not very good at them. But True. That means hilarity for all. What are you talking about? You haven't played. When have you played video games with me?
Yeah,
you can't say that. You can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. I can admit it. You can't say.
You can't say that.
You can't say that. But anyways, that is up on YouTube right now. 2 separate episodes. We play Batman: Arkham Origins and the new Suicide Squad game as well, both in the same universe. I actually did pretty good at Arkham Origins because I've played that one. That was one of the few games I actually got pretty close to, like, when it not premiered. That's a movie thing, but when it was released, there we go. So I've been playing that one since pretty much the beginning.
Good.
But yeah, for myself and Ryan Myberg, I'd like to thank you so much for watching. We will see you at the movies.